All right, Gerry, we are live on Facebook Live.
Wow, you did it, Callahan. You're not as dumb as you look.
Is this first time on doing a live stream for you?
My first time doing anything on Facebook. I'm not a Facebook guy.
But Facebook.
Yes, I think so. We used to do these chats online at the radio station where you just took questions and answered them, and it was kind of tedious, but this is much easier. No typing involved.
Yep. It actually looks pretty clear. I wonder how it looks.
Yeah, that's scary.
I'm going to look on my phone. I'm going to look. So what we're doing today, we don't typically do shows on Fridays. So we kind of
bonus.
We have all these dumb, every day we talk about a dumb issue like what's the best length of a podcast? Should we do Friday shows? All these stupid kind of like broad questions, and we never come to an actual agreement or an answer on what to do. So we're kind of just screwing around, wouldn't you say?
Right.
Like we're kind of
yeah. And nobody knows. Hey, you don't know. You know, my consultant doesn't know. Nobody knows the ideal length, the ideal frequency of a good podcast. God knows. Some are 4 hours long, like Joe Rogan, and some are half hour long. So
yeah. What was your thought? Your thought going into it was Monday through Thursday because you figured you'd talk a lot of football, right? Like Monday.
Well, because I don't know, because I wanted Fridays off.
Okay, well there you go. That's easy enough. Hold on, let's see if we have audio. Yep, we have audio. We're good. All right. So we asked people to submit a bunch of questions. Do you want to start, or you want me to ask some of these questions?
You go ahead, Callahan. This is your baby. I'm surprised this has worked as well as it has so far. I'm still amazed at your technological skill and know-how.
What can I say? I'm gifted.
Right. In some ways, you seem as dumb as a rock, but other ways, you're like.
All right. So the funniest part about this, by the way, is just the fact that all the questions are basically parody accounts. Big Poppy to Most had the first question in. Let's see. This is the one you get all the time. It'd be great if Kirky could do once a week, but I know that can't happen. How often do you see him coming on the show?
He'll come on as long as we're getting along, and then he'll, end up turning on me, and then he won't come on. But I don't know. We'll call him up occasionally and get him on. Kirk can't turn down anybody. He loves to hear his voice. He loves to be on the air. He likes to.
Should I send him this link right now? See if he wants to come on this.
Sure. Go ahead. I know you're excited because Kirk is threatening, or his producer Steve is threatening to quit. I know you got aroused when you heard that.
I did not get aroused.
Your dream is to be in Kirk's universe, to be near him. You're like a obsessed stalker.
That's an absurd. That's
not.
Though I think out of all what'd they take, like 50 calls yesterday of listeners? Was I the only one to have Steve's back yesterday? He doesn't have my back on the show, but I had his.
You didn't really have his back.
What are you talking about?
You didn't really have his back. I don't care. Steve called me before he took a job with Kirk and asked my advice, and my advice was turn around right now, go back to Howie and apologize, because Kirk will torture you at some point, and he did yesterday. He tortured Steve, and you know what? Steve deserved it.
What was your opinion of that show? Like when you listened to that, what was your?
My opinion of that show is and I know Kirk, and I know he loves that. He loves to inflict the pain, and it was hard to turn off. But I think I blame blind Mike. Mike should have said, "Let's move on now." He wouldn't have.
Out of all the people,
wouldn't have moved on. But I wanted to hear about Kirk's take on the Red Sox and the whole Red Sox the press conference and what they had to say, because it was a disaster. And I wanted to hear what he had to say about the documentary too, the Netflix documentary, which blamed him and me for killing Aaron Hernandez.
Well, we don't have to stay.
Which we talked about on our podcast.
We did, but we don't have to stay. I thought I'll give my take because I feel like it. I thought it was the funniest episode of the show. So sorry. That's my opinion. At that point, I didn't give a shit about his take on the Red Sox. So
how long do you think it should have gone on?
It should have gone on for 5 more hours if it could have.
And if you were in that seat, if you were in Steve's seat, which is your dream, to be honest, let's be honest, that's where you would like to be sitting.
I've been there.
How would you have handled it?
I've been there. Would I going, or how would I?
Cried? Because Robinson was close to tears.
No, I wouldn't have cried. At the end of the day, they're there to put together the best show. That was the best possible show based on.
Why didn't they just play the whole Kirk's whole Periscope thing. Just play it. It's only whatever, a half hour. Just play it. I would have enjoyed that.
It was an hour long. Also, part of it was just him just strolling by himself. No, they had to cut it up into small clips. I cut up some of the clips, but then we got in there with Turtle Boy, and you wanted to go straight to the Netflix. So, but I only heard like when he called you too. He called both of us to ask us our opinion. I only heard like 2 bits and pieces of it, and I just so happened to hear when he asked the cop if he's ever shot someone.
It's funny. It sounded like radio, with all the calls. This is what would happen on the radio. We introduce a topic and throw the number out there, and the callers would line up. It felt like that. The difference was a lot of the callers, including you and me, didn't know what the hell we were talking about because we missed the first hour or two.
What's
I knew you would want to
do it.
I knew as soon as you came up with this idea, I knew you would want to talk about Kirk, your hero, your idol.
No, let's go on with the last one.
So jealous of.
What's behind you? I can't make out what's behind you. Hold on.
What's behind
like
me?
All that.
That's my Imus Howard Stern picture right there. That's these are the greatest fights in Boston sports history on that right there. That's a picture of the big 3. Bird, Parrish, and McHale, and me, the big 4, I call it, because I'm in the background of that picture. So I've had that for a while.
Wow, that's like a mini Legacy Club of Boston right there.
Yeah, I know, huh?
That's pretty impressive.
There's a few other things. Hey, well, next time I'll show you the whole office.
There you go.
You want to see the whole house?
Nope, we're good. We don't need you walking around with the laptop there. Let's see. This is Kirk and Callahan on Twitter. To Kirk and Callahan 3. Why don't you guys get a press pass so you can go to Red Sox and Patriots press conferences and push back? Do you think we could get a press conference for a press pass, a credential?
Good question. I used to be able to, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure anymore. But it's a good question. Maybe you can do that next time.
But I'll try. Why wouldn't I try? I'll try anyway. Let's see. Hold on. I'm going to go.
They didn't need us. The press conference was a disaster. I watched it and I enjoyed it because it was pointless. They answered no questions. And they just looked lost up there, John Henry and Sam Kennedy, and they left you wondering why they did it in the first place. They think they're smarter than they are. They think they can talk their way in or out of things, and they can't. And the press conference just was a total disaster for them, which I enjoyed.
It was a joke. I'm going to go off of the Twitter questions for 1 second because we're getting comments into Facebook. By the way, if you're watching this live, and we basically just built the Facebook page, so do us a favor. Share the link, like the page, tell your friends.
Subscribe, rate, review.
I'm talking about Facebook right now. I'm not talking about.
But the whole point of this is to get people to subscribe, rate, review.
I know the whole point of this. Okay. Let's see. Who's here? John Stewart wants to know, did you enjoy singing Do They Know It's Christmas?
It was funny. It was a good bit. It was a thing Ken Laird put together with all of the people on our show, our old show. We each did a verse. I wanted to do the one that says, tonight, thank God it's them instead of you, which is the worst music lyric ever written, but I didn't. And I didn't sound as bad as I thought I would. So,
all right.
Is that really a question?
That was a question at that point in time. Let's see. Thomas on Twitter says Reimer sucks. We don't hear that often.
I got about a dozen Reimer questions right here in my hand. I should. Yeah. Why is he on? I'd say 9 out of 10 hate Reimer, and then there's the one that says that I like him or I love to hate him, and he's going to be on. I like him. That's all that matters. And he's nuts. He's got more balls than brains, as I always say, and he likes to fight. So we're going to continue to have him on until he does something really stupid and gets arrested or murdered or something, because he's always a short timer.
But we'll still try to have him on even in those months. That'd be
sure.
a good show.
Prison cell if he goes to jail or whatever. We like Reimer.
And I could tell people from the podcast standpoint, and I think you said this with the KNC days, the number, because people try to say this, I bet your numbers go down when Alex is there. The numbers do not go down when Alex is on the show.
We did it on the radio. They did this in-depth analysis of each co-host that Kirk and I had. And it was, Tomasi and Trenny and Mutt, who always finished last. And even if he didn't, we told him he did, just to drive him nuts. But Reimer was right up there with all the others. The people say they don't listen and they turn off, and I don't believe they do. he's always up for a fight. Sometimes there's not enough disagreement on the radio or on these podcasts. That's what we're looking for.
And he just got a new job, so I'll go into the next question. I don't know, it's on the list somewhere, but somebody wants to know, have you talked to Alex since he got a new job? Will he still be able to do the show? I haven't asked him that question. I'm just assuming he can.
Yeah, I assume he can, and he wants to. He got a new job. He's managing editor of Outsports, the gay sports magazine, website, whatever. It sounds like a real job, but hey, we'll get him in there early in the morning. He'll be out in time to make it to work. And I saw that someone asked the question of him on Twitter is, are you going to out people? And they say Outsports never outs anybody. They just write about the intersection of whatever, gay life and sports. So that's his new job, and he'll be good at it, and he'll get fired in 6 months.
Yep. All right. Let's see. Victor on Twitter wants to know, the show's been great, but to take it to the next level, we need a Dennis and Callahan reunion.
I don't think that's going to happen, at least not anytime soon. Dino's down in Florida enjoying his retirement. And
Meter will happen, though, right? Meter will happen.
Meter's going to come in. Meter is a good friend of Scott Mutrin, who's been very good. That was your discovery. I got to give you credit.
Yep.
People like Mute so far, and Meter's a good buddy, and he's going to come in with Mute someday. And I said that'll be good because then we can gang up on Meter and just torture him for a day. That'll be fun.
I'd like to hear some Meter war stories from the road, from the BC football games. What it's like.
No, even better. He tried once upon a time years ago to keep up with Dino. He was looking good. We got him a whole makeover. We got him got rid of the glasses, got him laser surgery, got him new teeth. He was looking good. He was feeling good, and he tried to hang with Dino for a few weeks, and it almost killed him. He couldn't do it. We'll ask him all about that.
Yes,
that was wild.
I like Turtle Boy on the show. Make him a co-host. What's your opinion of how he's done so far?
I think he's been excellent, as I say all the time. Turtle Boy's the best reporter in town, best reporter in New England. I think he lives far away. It's asking a lot for him to come into Boston in the morning, but we'll have him on. Hopefully we'll have him on once a week. You want to know what else you're looking at? That's those are all not all. Those are some of the cover stories I did for Sports Illustrated when I was there. There's the Mo Vaughn at Fenway was my first cover. There's A-Rod and Pedro and Clemens and Jay Buhner. Those are just a few of the stories when I was at SI that were on the cover. My wife had them.
What do you think is comparable today?
Back when there was a Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, what do you think is comparable today to Sports Illustrated from back then?
Nothing. Unfortunately, there's every single print outlet, every newspaper is hurting, every magazine, they're all just trying to survive, and very few of them will. I mean, hell, like if Sports Illustrated is cutting down to, I don't even know how many editions they put out now, like one every month or something.
No clue.
I don't know. It's hurting. They laid everybody off. It's probably going to become just a website eventually. Every newspaper, same way. They're just every day they get there, they go to work and they say, how can we survive another day? The internet, Twitter has killed print journalism, sad to say. I mean, hell, look at me. When I was out of work, I had calls from lots of podcasters, and occasionally there'd be a radio or TV person wondering what I was doing, but nobody, except The Athletic, nobody called, and they're only a website. No newspaper called. They're not hiring. They're firing. And same with magazines. They're just laying everybody off.
Yep. I was a big Sports Illustrated for Kids guy. Do kids have that nowadays?
I never wrote for that. I don't know. It was a whole separate entity.
Yeah.
But, no, they don't. They just have this, Dave. They have Facebook. They have Twitter. They have Instagram. They don't have magazines and newspapers. They don't exist. Hell, go to on an airplane sometime, on a plane. There's nobody, reading a magazine or a newspaper anymore. It used to be everybody on the plane had a newspaper. Now nobody does. They all have their phones.
Let's see. Brian wants to know, will you be washing your underwear in the pool anytime?
What pool would that be? It's the middle of winter and I'm home. So no. I've never washed my underwear. I went swimming in the pool with my underwear underneath my gym shorts. That's what I did. That's not
as a method to clean them.
Well, they happen to get clean. What can I say? And then after when I got out, I took them off and I hung them over like the fence, and you know, I sunbathed nude. But no,
All right. Let's see. Okay. Paulie wants to know, you mentioned a while ago, I think on some of those test shows, that you wanted to do the show live. Is that still in your head?
yes, that's still when that's this is an encouraging sign because you could pull this off, Colin, and I think you could probably pull off a live podcast.
This is much easier, unfortunately. However,
the question isn't for me, then it's for him. It's for you.
Yeah. Okay. Let's rephrase the question then. After 2 weeks of doing the show Monday through Thursday, live to tape almost, let's call it, do you envision a live show being better than what you do now? Is there an advantage? Like, how has your mindset changed now that you've done?
Well, it'd be similar. I'd be very similar. It feels much like, morning radio, except, we get to swear on occasion. And we don't have as many commercial interruptions, and that's what I tell people. That's what I learned when I started becoming, a podcast guy. It's much easier to listen to. You don't have all these annoying, 5-minute breaks. It just feels more natural. I think, again, question is to you, Dave. Are we going to do it live one of these days?
Yeah, but you were pushing it off though. Like you said, oh, we'll talk about it down the line. Like
we have other things. We have other things to figure out first. But like eventually, do you think you could pull it off?
Yes.
Okay, good. Then that's what we're going to do. One of these days, we're going to go live at 7 a.m.
That's true. Why don't we just do it one day and see what happens?
Okay.
Commit to it.
Then we'll have. I haven't seen anyone do that anywhere. To be honest with you,
do a live morning show. You mean
live morning podcast?
Well, I guess you could almost say Pat McAfee, right? Because he's, even though it's a live stream of his DAZN show, so that's kind of TV, right? I don't know. I guess you would.
Yes, the answer is yes. We're going to try it one of these days.
Yeah.
Maybe like a big morning, maybe like the day after the Super Bowl or something. That's when we can do it.
Would you ever consider a return to terrestrial radio if an opportunity came up? Would Entercom be a possibility? It's from Digger.
I would say yes and no. I mean, if the possible, obviously, if someone offers you a lot of money and a good opportunity, you'd consider it. But I don't think Entercom's a possibility. I don't think they're hiring. I don't think they're paying anybody. In fact, I think they're firing, they're laying people off, and they're cutting people's pay right now. This is not good for them.
Have you ever talked to the Sports Hub? Have they reached out for anything?
No. Yep. And I know Kirk asked this last year why they never called him. They never called me, even as isn't a guest. That nobody wants trouble anymore. I know we've talked about this in the podcast, and Kirk and I have talked about it. Everybody, their first priority, their first thought, program directors, general managers, is we have to stay out of trouble. That's the programming mission at our old station. Is when they put a show together, when they put people together, it's all about staying out of trouble. They don't want Murchison to return. They don't want anybody to complain. They just want to keep their head down and get through the day. They're not looking for good radio, compelling radio, or certainly not dangerous radio anymore. Those days are over.
Let's see. Bobby wants to know, when do we get 5 days, 2-hour podcast? We need more revenge.
I don't know. It's a consideration. We're still trying to figure out that what is Steve Robinson called the Goldilocks zone?
Goldilocks zone. That's right. Yeah.
Trying to figure out the Goldilocks zone, the comfort, what works best.
I think I kind of feel like from a timing perspective, the reaction that we've got 1 hour to 1:15 is the Goldilocks zone. Am I wrong?
We've gone long a few times. We're usually around 110, 115,
probably 90 minutes that we've done for sure.
Well, we did one. I think it was like 138. Felt like a little. I don't know. 115, 120. But who the hell knows?
Yeah. Let's go to PV. Do you think the conservative angle to the show still plays with today's audience?
It's not an angle to the show. It's what I feel. I mean, I think the dumbest thing you can do is not be yourself. I mean, there's nobody who's really successful in radio, TV, or this podcasting who's putting on an act. I mean, you have to kind of be yourself. I'm not. And yes, it does. Some of the most successful podcasters, radio, TV people are conservative. Not many are liberal. It's hard to do, hard to sustain an argument for, an hour and a half a day, every day, as a liberal. Much of what they do is emotion, and that's why you don't see a lot of great, TV people or pundits who are liberal.
We do need a bigger bench, though, don't you think? I mean, what do we have?
Sure.
We have 4 consistents. We got Turtle Boy, Mute, Reimer, Shattuck. I think would be consistent.
Shattuck was good.
But even that, I still think even if they came on, we still are going to look for more people to come in studio that hopefully will disagree with you to some extent.
Yes, I mean, obviously we've got a list, and some don't want to do it, and some aren't allowed to do it.
Yep.
A guy like Tomasi was all he wanted to do it. He was excited, but his place wouldn't let him do it. By the way, we got to get to the bottom of this. You told me you called Jerry Thornton to come on and talk to us the other day, and he said Barstool won't let him.
Yeah, they didn't approve it, but that could be for, I don't know, he
didn't approve Jerry Thornton to come on with me and you and talk about the Patriots versus the Red Sox.
I don't know, maybe just specifically because you're a podcast, you're new, so the show has been around the top of the charts, you know what I mean, in the sports category, and they're so large.
All he said was they wouldn't let him do it.
Yep, correct.
Okay, we got to find out why.
He said, not him personally. He said, "I hope I can come on soon. Keep in touch." He was great with it.
I like Thornton. Absolutely, and I that is amazing. But that Barstool, we had Kirk on. He's a Barstool guy. I mean, he didn't ask permission; he just came on. But I find that amazing if Barstool won't allow their people, Thornton, to come on and talk to us.
It wasn't
whatever he's doing. I mean, he's been good. He's been good on this. Attacking the Red Sox, defending the Patriots, of course, and he's a good writer, and we'll keep trying.
Let's see. Kevin Sheehan is God on Twitter wants to know, why'd you kill Aaron Hernandez?
I've explained that a few times. Or does you know why? Why? Because he's a murderer and he's a scumbag. He was the worst human being, one of the worst human beings on planet Earth. We had reporter Michelle McPhee on the show. Kirk and I did. She broke the news that that Aaron Hernandez was gay, and it may have been the motive of the murder of Odin Lloyd. That Odin Lloyd was talking to people about it, and Aaron didn't like that. Anyway, the people, when Aaron was in prison, he got harassed. He got heckled by other prisoners because he was gay, and that led to his suicide. So, it's a little bit of a leap, but Kirk and I took credit, and we now boast that we killed Aaron Hernandez, which is a good thing. Aaron Hernandez was a really bad guy, and if you missed yesterday's podcast, we played the sound from a Globe reporter who never broke a story in her life, criticizing us, scolding us for outing Aaron Hernandez, a murderer. She said, that's not what they do. To quote the Globe reporter, who's now a New York Times reporter, that's a no-no in media, a no-no. You don't out someone. Well, we didn't out someone. We outed a murderer. We didn't out an innocent person. We outed a killer, an evil man. And I will never apologize for that.
I actually think, did Michelle McPhee reach out to you? I think she DM'd us.
Yeah, she did. She was pretty pissed off, and I don't blame her because the Globe broke nothing. The Globe, why Netflix or anyone else would sit down with a Globe reporter is beyond me. They don't sit down with her, the person who broke the story, or Turtle Boy, who consistently advanced the story. They sit down with a Globie who says, that's a no-no. You don't talk about someone's sexuality. Are you kidding? It may have been the motive of a murder. And exactly whose feelings are you hurting? Who are you offending if you out him? Aaron Hernandez? Who cares? Anyway, don't get me on this again.
Who was the? I'm trying to see the name. Chris something. Chris wants to know, what's the dumbest thing that you watch consistently on television? Like, does your wife watch some dumb show that you watch with her?
I don't watch. Well, she watches many dumb shows, including The Bachelor. She and my daughter watch The Bachelor, and that's a really dumb show. I can't even be in the room. I hate that show. It would have to be, Family Guy, because my son is a huge fan, and That's one of those father-son things we do together is watch Family Guy or South Park. He has a twisted sense of humor. I'm not sure where he gets it, but we'll watch that together. And, old Adam Sandler movies. Watch That's My Boy or Jack and Jill. Those are pretty freaking stupid.
So can we have
here we go with the do.
So that's what I do. It's not necessarily it's not an awkward thing. It's just kind of like as I'm thinking.
If you do it, then it's an awkward thing.
No, it's not an awkward thing. Can we have more Alex R, please? We got that. Could Mutt, Ken, and Curtis come on sometime?
Who?
Mutt, Ken, and Curtis. Could they come on sometime?
Probably not. I don't see why not, but they're probably not. I mean, I think they're pretty defensive and paranoid over there these days. But maybe down the road we'll give it a shot.
All right.
I have a question, and I hate these. The F, marry, kill.
Yes.
John Henry, Joe Zarbano, Sam Kennedy. Well, I'll just say I wouldn't kill Joe Zarbano because he didn't do anything. We've gone over this before. Kirk hates him, but
you just cut out.
What?
You just cut out quickly. Zarbano didn't do anything. Is that what you were saying?
I wouldn't kill him. He was an innocent bystander. He wanted me there. He wanted Kirk there. He was powerless. And John Henry, I guess I'd marry John Henry because he's a billionaire and he's just a handsome guy, as we know, and kill Sam Kennedy, of course.
Okay, that's fair. Let's stay on Sam Kennedy for 1 second. Should he get shit canned for everything that's been going on?
Let me think about that for a second. Yes, he should.
Don't rush into it.
I'm telling you, I've said this for the last few days. There's going to be a lot of people implicated in this because Alex Cora was not acting alone. We know that by definition. He had people. And the general manager in Houston was suspended and fired because he should have been in control. He should have known what was going on and stopped it. Same with the manager, by the way. Why wouldn't you say the same thing about someone in the Red Sox front office? I know they'll blame Dave Dombrowski because he's gone, but Sam Kennedy was in the clubhouse all the time, very close to Cora. John Henry was in the clubhouse, in the manager's office all the time, and sitting right next to the dugout. I wouldn't be surprised if there are some people way, way, way high up in the Red Sox organization who are implicated in this and have to pay a price, a suspension. They're going to lose draft picks. They're going to get fined big money. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better.
All right. I'm going to play this voicemail. I have to do it in 2 parts because this software sucks. But this is Gerry's consultant on Twitter, by the way.
Oh, good.
His voice. So hang on.
Gerry Callahan, what's going on, fellas? This is Matt calling, better known to most as Gerry's consultant on Twitter. Gerry, been listening since I was a young whippersnapper coming up in the mean streets of Bristol, Connecticut with the likes of Hernandez, Steve Levy, that whole crew of degenerates. My question for you is this. How you like it so far? How do you like being the only host on the show after, being a tandem for so long? Do you like Callahan as your number 2 voice? Are you thinking about bringing in one of these guys like a Reimer or a Mew as a permanent co-host? Let me know what you're thinking. Thanks, fellas. Keep it up. Show's great.
That's my consultant. He's pretty good on Twitter, by the way. And,
funny to hear you.
I like it. I'm enjoying it. And, as Kirk told me when we started, he said, you're going to love the fact that there's not someone hanging over your head, that whether it's in the room literally or, in the back of your mind, there's nobody who's watching, listening to your every word and ready to step in and say, you can't say that. It feels good. And it feels natural to not have that dark force over in or down the hall, just waiting for you to step in
it. What about working with me? You didn't answer that part. Yeah.
As I said, you're smarter than you look, but you're a little shifty, and everyone's, lots of people who know you are telling me, just wait.
Have I done anything shifty?
Just wait.
What have I done shifty?
No, it's been 2 weeks, Dave. Yeah, you've been wonderful. You're awesome.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And you are hoping. This is what I believe about you. you're a good friend of Steve Robinson's, right? You guys are friends. He recommended you. He talked me into hiring you. He thinks you're great.
No.
And you're hoping right now, because Kirk tortured him for 2 hours, you're hoping he either quits or commits suicide. You're hoping. Then you could be in the presence of the one that you worship. That you could be in Kirk's world.
That is not true.
Admit it.
That is not true. I hope that I obviously we both haven't listened to today's show. I hope it all blows over. Steve does a good job. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I still think that collaboration between the shows would be a good thing. Kind of, I don't know, just from an entertainment standpoint in some capacity. I do not want to see Steve quit or lose his job.
No, you want to see him like step in front of a bus today. That's what you want.
Well, no, yeah. I want to see him physically harmed, but I don't mind a laugh at Steve's expense. Let's put it that way. I don't mind that. And I've also helped out Steve. Let's not say that like Steve, just because he introduced me to you. Kirk would have introduced me to you.
Well, that's true. I think I already met you, but yes, but he literally said, like, you know, he's a great producer. I asked him, is he as good as you? And he said, no, but he's good.
Yeah.
Well, I think you probably have, I don't want to say thicker skin, but you would have been more comfortable being tortured than he was. He was very uncomfortable.
But you have to kind of learn through that. You guys are so different than other people in the radio business. Steve would never experience what he experienced yesterday on any other show that he produced. I would never have experienced even the shit that you give me. I've never experienced that, and I've worked with probably 10 different people in radio. So it is something, whether you like it or not, you have to get used to. You know what I mean? And the thing that I always told Kirk, even outside of the 3 weeks that I was in studio, when they talk shit about you and bust your balls so much, but you don't have a voice to just bust balls back, that does take getting used to, whether you like it or not. Like when he says shit about you, you now at this point just ignore it, right? But that,
I mean, I'm the only one that's ever challenged him, which is why we were good together. He's got people that just go, and that's why they should have challenged him yesterday. Said, enough of this, let's move on. He wouldn't have, but you got to try. And I like it better when someone gets in his face. He might rip your face off, but you got to get in his face occasionally. Have you guys
texted about doing any fun content ideas like I recommend?
Yeah, we have some plans. I don't know if they'll ever happen because Kirk will flip out on me and.
Oh, are you talking about the main thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
guys used to talk all the time on the show about playing golf together. I think producing.
Yeah, we play golf and I pay every single time.
Every time. Are you going to find out how we can get into that Top Golf across the street?
Yes, that's in the works. We're going to go play indoor golf.
Figure that out.
But yeah, and you and I are going to play tennis against each other, right?
Oh, right. Yes. I haven't played tennis in years, but I guarantee I'd take you.
Let's see. We go.
Let's see.
A lot of questions about the consultant. The consultant's been good. Would you agree? He does lots of things that I don't want to do. I think of him as my invoice guy. Who the hell wants to do invoices? Not me.
What do you think of the Dave consultant relationship? Because Kirk was trying to stroke that.
I'm telling you, people think you hate each other, but you don't, and he likes you. You're a little paranoid. You think he comes in there and talks behind your back. He does not.
I do not think that actually.
He likes you.
But I do.
He's very impressed with your technical abilities.
You have to admit too that I'm comfortable disagreeing with him. I'm comfortable disagreeing with the both of you.
Sure. Sometimes you just do it to prove that you're not, a little sock puppet. You just disagree with something totally irrelevant and insignificant.
Like
that's your thing now. You'll sit there. No, I don't think we should. I'm like, what? Who cares? Like any dumb thing. That's okay. I'd rather have that. I like it. I like the disagreement.
That's nonsense talk. Let's see. Second week was definitely stronger. Show seems to be finding its identity, and I like the current rotation of co-hosts. Gerry was great this week on the Sox. Are there any co-hosts ideas that you guys have been tossing around that you'd like to throw into the mix? That's the common question.
Yeah, we talk about it every day. You and I talk about different people and inviting different people in. Sure, but any plans? Do we have anyone new next week? I don't think so, but we're working on some things.
Give us suggestions. We're open to it. I mean, we've reached out to every predictable name that people have suggested, right? And these come in since before the show launched when you'd go on Kirk's show and talk about it. Every predictable name we've reached out to, so we need new blood. So if you listen to a radio station and you hear some analyst or something like that, toss it to it. We'll try people, right?
Football fan says, any thought to doing it the night before so I can listen to it in the morning early? I can't stand Wiggles and Giggles on WEI. I like Wiggles, but I don't know who Giggles is. Yes, we've talked about that. You and I have talked about that. Some of the top podcasts do that, tape the night before, record the night before, and post it in the morning. We may do that. Hey, it's a work in progress. You've never actually said why Ken Laird is a snake. What did he do? Nothing. I talked to Ken Laird. I accused him of doing something. They put a promo together, kicking me out, about how that was such a great move to get rid of me.
What was the line? There's some line in that.
When I was there, Ken Laird did all the promos, so I assumed he did that one, and I was ready to kill him because
he's a big softy.
And he called up and said, it wasn't me. I'm sorry. I had nothing to do with it. And, he just goes along. He's a good guy. Just goes along to get along. He was a sock puppet for Kirky, and now he's a sock puppet for the other guys in the morning, Wiggles and Giggles. And so he did nothing. We're good. He's a great button pusher.
Yep. Let's see. John in the chat here on Facebook. If you're watching along on Facebook, you can leave comments in there. We can see them here. And share it, by the way. Share the Facebook stream. John wants to know, when is McPhee coming on? Did you know she used to host the show with McGrory? I knew she hosted a show on TKK. I didn't know if
she's done a lot. I don't know. We'll have her on. She's good. She's a little crazy. And I know she's pissed right now. I mean, think of it. You're whoever produced the Netflix documentary, and you call up a Globe reporter who never broke a story in her life, who did nothing but chase the stories that Michelle broke or Turtle Boy broke, and you have her on as an authority. That's why I haven't watched the damn thing. You know what? I talked to Kirk about this. I'm passing. I've seen enough about Aaron Hernandez. I don't need to see more. I certainly don't need to see some Globey sitting there talking like she actually was ahead of the story. She wasn't. They weren't. They played catch up to Michelle and to Turtle Boy and to the Herald every day.
Do you guys just talk? Do you and Kirk talk, just call each other and just shoot the shit for an hour?
I wouldn't say an hour, but we do. We talk. Now, I mean, there'll be months where we don't, because he'll get mad at something stupid and we won't. But yes, we have similar interests and similar senses of humor. So we do. We talk. We make fun of people and our old colleagues, some of our new colleagues, and we talk about whatever. We talk about.
Because it doesn't just start out as, hey, I'm just calling to chat. Is there always a purpose to the call? I can't imagine me calling even my best friend and just to chat.
It's a good point. Good question. I guess so. Yeah, it is, to talk about whatever's happening that day. Get feedback. I mean, he knows a lot about this crazy new business that I just got into.
He does.
He doesn't know as much as he thinks he knows, because he doesn't have to do any of the business side of things that you do and I do now. But he knows how to do this once the mic is on. Plus, we talk about the downfall of the Boston Red Sox and things like that. We enjoy it together.
That was loud. Let's see. Zach wants to know, would you consider an in-studio audience for
what I consider yes, we're going to have those. We have at the Legacy Club of Boston, we have a good opportunity to have some people in person, in studio. And by the way, they could have a cocktail, or they could have a cup of coffee, or whatever they want. Popcorn, even. M&M.
We should actually, it's kind of late, so it'd be a pain in the ass, but you're not still into boxing, are you? Didn't you used to write about boxing?
No, I'm not. I was in boxing when Marvin Hagler was fighting, and I covered many, many fights. I covered Tyson fights. I was in Vegas and in Atlantic City and all over the place for lots and lots of fights, but I'm not into it anymore. Why are you?
Not really, but that's kind of a cool event to potentially host at the Legacy Club, to watch the boxing match and stream it live and stuff like that. No?
Yeah, good. Next idea.
Next. All right. Let's see. Any other good questions?
I'd rather do the Masters or, do the Super Bowl. I mean, The only sports I'm really into still are football and golf. I mean, it's another thing Kirk and I talk about. We talk about, the PGA Tour.
Oh, weird. So now a guy comes along and suggests you produce golf-related content, but he's the fucking idiot for telling you guys
about golf. You just said boxing. What are you talking about?
The golf fight. Remember I said you guys should produce fun content that you guys like golf, and you guys both made fun of me.
I'm like, what? Someone's going to watch us play?
Well, there's a podcast out there that's always at the top of the charts, all about golf. They play different courses, drones flying over. They're funny. All this. There's other things.
January. Why don't we worry about that like in June? All right.
All right. Let's see. What are some other good questions? We've been going on for a while too. So what are some other good questions?
I got to get to yoga. Let's wrap this up.
You talked about Ken's. You're good with that. You talked about the consultant. You're good with that.
Consultant questions.
Yeah, a lot of. You did the Mary for Kill. You did Dino. Any stories that you want to get to on the podcast? That you haven't got to that you want to focus a lot of time on. So you talk about the funeral story, or you're going to talk about the funeral story. Any other stories that you want to get into?
Any other stories? Sure, there's 1,000 of them, most of which I've already told, but I'll tell them again. What do you want me to do? List them right now?
Yeah. No, that's fine. I guess that's really it. The only other ones were guest related. What are some just top guests that you want to book on the show? Because that's one thing. We've been doing kind of newsy stuff. We haven't actually had kind of a powwow besides one guest that you want to get that we're working on right now. But we haven't talked about just kind of generic shows.
I've given you some names, and we'll get to them. The first guy I wanted, and we had Schilling on last week, but Robert O'Neill, the guy who killed Bin Laden, he's a very interesting guy and a good guest. We're going to have him on. You found out he listened to the podcast, correct?
Yeah, he listened to the podcast last week. I don't know how he got a hold of it. Something related with mute. I don't know. All of a sudden he texted me and he was like, Robert O'Neill listened to the podcast and wants to come on. So I'm not
some authors on slow days. We could do some authors. That's another thing. Kirk and I talk about books,
Yep.
And we always ask the question is, who else reads books? There's not many people in our world that read books, and some authors are boring and I wouldn't want them on, but others, like Robert O'Neill, his book was excellent. Guys like that I would welcome, and we'll get to that. Right now, we've had a lot of stuff to talk about. You would agree. A lot of breaking news with the Red Sox and Aaron Hernandez this week, and NFL stuff. Patriots, they always provide. We've had lots to talk about.
That might be a good Friday thing. So every Monday through Thursday, we're producing more of that newsy stuff that's going on right now type of content. And then after we record the shows, maybe we record a guest for 30 minutes and we put it out there on the feed on Fridays. That could be okay.
We can do that. We can do whatever you want, Connie. Whatever you want. You're the brains of the operation.
All right, that's all.
What's the last book you read?
I'm trying to think of the last book I read.
I'm gonna guess it was like in high school, right?
Something Whitey Bulger related. I'm in my nights are so fucked range with the two kids and vomit all over me. And then when they finally go to bed, I watch whatever my wife wants to watch, which is normally a reality show that I'll tell you
what. So what dumb show do you watch? Throw that question at you.
But first of all, I watch so many of them, but I love them. I've been converted.
Bachelor?
I do like The Bachelor. Depends by season. I like Below Deck. Somebody wanted me to ask you, are you watching the reality show Below Deck, which I assume you're.
No, but I saw them filming it one time when I was on vacation. I saw them we were on this cruise. It was like St. Martin, and we saw them like working the crew out I forget where, some island.
That is the best. It's the best reality show out there. I watch all reality shows.
Awful.
Yeah. Well, it's fantastic. So, all right. I think that's it. There's some questions in the chat. Do a movie podcast. We've talked about that. I know Kirk's thinking of doing one too, but you love that movie theater across the street. So you want?
Yes, I'm planning, I think, to go see 1917 today. That's the goal. Kirk said it was one of the greatest movies he's ever seen. I know I'll like it. I love war movies. It looks great. I'll have a full review for you on Monday, hopefully.
All right. That's it. Unless you want to get to anything else, subscribe to the podcast, rate,
review
the podcast.
Tell your friends.
Yep. Tell your friends. Tell your friends about our Facebook page. We're just starting that. Gerry's followers are all on Twitter, so we're super hyper focused on Twitter. But I got to expand. You know what I mean? I got to expand.
Yeah, I was told you're really good with social media. I was told he's really not good at much, but social media he can do.
I
so
can
that's your job.
Social media pretty well. I got to find a way to bring all of these worlds together. Like I do the videos for Twitter. I don't want to then go post them separately on Facebook. I don't want to do that manually. I need to get that automation software working. I got to figure that out, but whatever.
Yeah, fascinating. That's a great topic to wrap up with.
Are we going to put this? Are we putting this on the podcast feed? Do you want to do that?
I don't know. You figure it out.
I'll put it on. Who cares?
I'm going to yoga now.
All right, go to yoga. Thanks for joining us. Subscribe, rate, review, like us on Facebooks. See you later.